Artcadets, and welcome to this week's video. Today we're going to continue the stone painting theme, and I've chosen to do the Angry Birds from the Angry Bird movie. So if you're ready, let's go! So for this video I chose to do 4 of the Angry Birds from the Angry Birds movie, and I'm using my acrylic paints as they're really bright and cover the stones well. So I let each one dry in between doing layers, because later on we're going to put on the faces, and it's much better to make sure that the stones are dry. And in between painting the different birds, it's important to make sure that you really clean your brush well and make sure there's no paint left over in the brush. And also it's really important to change your water frequently, so the colours that go onto the stones are the nice bright colours that are in the tube. So one thing I did do with the yellow and the white bird is I did 2 coats of paint, because even though they're really nice paints and acrylic covers the stones well, I still thought it was a little bit streaky, so 2 coats seemed to sort it out. And once they were dry, I went in with my black Sharpie and just started to do the outline of the facial details. So for Red, his main characteristic is his big black bushy eyebrows. And I did watch the film the other day as well, so I kind of know the characters and I did enjoy it. It's a really good movie. So poor Red used to get called Eyebrows because of his really thick eyebrows. And for the finer details later, I do go in with a fine black pen as well. Now it's important to say that I haven't done an outline or anything in pencil for this stage. I've just gone in and done it straight away in my black felt tip. But if you make any mistakes, then don't worry, because we're going to paint over the beak and the eyes later on anyway, so don't worry about any mistakes at this stage. So for the yellow Angry Bird, whose name is Chuck, if I remember right, I did leave his eyebrows till afterwards, because in the movie his eyebrows are more of a browny orange colour, and I thought I'd just paint those on with the paint after I'd done the facial details. So now I'm drawing the white Angry Bird, and to start with I thought I was drawing Matilda, but as you can see there are no sort of pretty eyelashes or details on the hair, so I figured after a while that this must be the mighty eagle and not Matilda as I first thought. So when I went on to paint the details of the faces and do the eyes, I used a fine round paintbrush and just applied the white acrylic paint neat out of the tube. Because you want it to stand out, you don't need it to be too watery. And again, don't worry if you cover up some of the details, because Later on I go along with my fine black outliner and fill those back in. Now the blue Angry Birds I think are called the Blues, and they're actually triplets. So their names are Jim, Jake and Jay. So I think this is a fairly straightforward stone painting, and I think it's really effective as well, so it's one you could probably have a go at without too much trouble. And there are other birds obviously that I didn't draw, so if you're going to have a go, by all means do either the same as me or do some different ones, and then send me a picture of what you've done. That would be really good. So I'm kind of taking turns in between doing the details on each of the birds, and that gives the paint a chance to dry, so there's less chance of it smudging or getting messed up when you do the rest of it. And despite me making a bit of a mess of the black outline on red, I think this one turned out to be one of my favourites. So don't give up if you've made a bit of a boo-boo on the drawing stage. As I said, you can soon fix it with the paint later on. So for the detail on red, I just went in with a slightly darker shade of red and just did some spots over the rest of the stone. And this gave a really nice effect when it was dry. And you'll see I'm working on newspaper as well, because obviously with the stones being round, some of it does or would touch the table if you weren't using something to protect it. So nearly done with red, and I'm going in with a yellowy orange colour for his beak. And I use this same yellowy colour for all of the birds. And I think you will agree he looks pretty angry. So as you can see, I've gone over his beak here several times, and that gave me a nice thick coat and a nice bright colour. And I did the same for the bluebird. If you're doing layers, remember to let them dry in between, and that will give you the best effect. So just to finish Chuck off, as I said earlier, I'm just giving him some red or reddy brown eyebrows. And it really is the eyebrows that make these birds look angry, I think. So once all the painting is done, I'm then coming in with my black fine liner just to bring out the details again and go over any lines that I covered with paint, and that just gives them a nice finish. I've also used my white gel pen, and again that just gives a nice bright finish to their eyes. So I suppose if you didn't want to do it in layers like I've done, you could draw around the eye shapes with your main colour in the first place, and I thought that might make it a bit more difficult, to be honest, so I thought it was easier to do it this way. Then you haven't got to sort of go in fine detail all round the eyes and the beak. But by all means give that way a go. And the last few touches, and we're there. I did add a coat of varnish like I did last week, and that just finishes them off nicely, seals the paint and gives them a shine. And there we go. 4 angry birds. Well, that's all for today, Artcadets. I hope you've enjoyed stone painting the angry birds. If you've enjoyed this video, then don't forget to give it a like, comment and subscribe to my channel. Next week we are going to do a stone painting collage, so hopefully you'll join us for that. See you then.